There's one hidden truth every woman lives with, and most men are blind to it. That isn't her history or her stated ambitions. It's more primal, more instinctive. It's a quiet, internal sense of her own inherent vulnerability. The man who can perceive this, who sees it with clarity and without fear, unlocks a level of influence others never reach. Look at the modern landscape. Messages of strength and self-reliance are everywhere, yet they conceal a deeper reality. A woman knows at her core that she is exposed. No career, no social praise, no outward confidence can erase that underlying truth. The man who acknowledges this holds a key to genuine connection. This isn't about physical strength. That's surface level. This is about the invisible dimension, the emotional and psychological fragility that quietly guides our actions, even if unspoken. And here's the crucial realization. This fragility is not a defect. It isn't a problem to solve. It's woven into her very nature. It's a fundamental aspect of being feminine. When you stop ignoring it, when you're refused by the popular story of total female invincibility, your entire perspective shifts. You cease being just another guy seeking her approval. You start to perceive the real dynamics at play. The irony most men never grasp? Women don't truly admire the man who constantly affirms their toughness. They don't respect the guy who applauds their total independence. Secretly, they may even pity him. A man who forever validates an image of untouchability seems pliable, obvious, and weak. What a woman authentically desires, though she might not voice it, is more nuanced. She is drawn to the man who can see past the facade, who recognizes that quiet vulnerability, and yet remains solid, calm, and self-assured. That kind of unshakable presence ignites curiosity and respect in a way empty reassurance never can. Ancient strategists understood this principle. They knew that to lead, you must sometimes prioritize respect over being liked. This is never more relevant than between men and women. When you can acknowledge a woman's fragility without rushing to fix it, you gain a subtle, potent authority. You step out of fantasy and into what's real. In that space, attraction and respect aren't handed out. They are earned by the man who sees clearly and acts with intention. Many women today speak of wanting pure equality. They say they wish to be peers in all things, emotionally, in career, in life. They insist they don't require male validation. But talk is one thing. Behavior tells the actual story. Observe who truly captures their focus, their time, their deep admiration. It is almost never the man who treats her as a perfect, flawless equal. It is the man who, in subtle ways, connects with a part of herself she rarely acknowledges. Her internal soft spot. Why? Because every woman lives with silent, internal pressure. A quiet anxiety that persists. Youth is fleeting. Fertility has an expiration. Beauty evolves. The clock is always ticking, and no accomplishment can pause it. This is not conjecture. It's biology and reality intertwined. And she knows it. At a deep level. She feels it, even if she never admits it aloud. That awareness influences her decisions in ways most men miss. As years pass, this knowledge can spark urgency, jealousy when she sees a man with someone younger, or frustration when she feels overlooked. These aren't character flaws. They are the natural collision between reality and comforting social illusions. Understanding this hidden timeline is critical. It explains actions that seem confusing, but are logical when you see the root cause. It also reveals why a man who is steady, calm, and grounded becomes infinitely more attractive than one who constantly seeks to please. Because he is rooted in truth, not fiction. He engages with the reality she cannot avoid, a reality she fears but ultimately respects. Time is her quiet rival, and your awareness of it is an advantage. But only if you remain observant, patient, and conscious of the dynamic. Your capacity to see, comprehend, and act from this understanding changes everything. You stop chasing. You stop worrying. You step into a role of calm authority that is impossible to ignore. This is where real power originates. The instant you truly see a woman's delicate nature without condemning it or trying to repair it, your whole worldview transforms. You no longer operate from a place of lack. You quit pursuing her validation. You stop letting her opinion dictate your worth. Here's a reality she will likely never say to you. Her need for you is deeper than your need for her. not because you are inherently superior. This is simply how nature and psychology function. A man's potential value can increase with time. He can accumulate resources, stature, and personal strength. He can start a family later in life. Each year, if he focuses on growth, he can become more substantial. A woman does not have the same biological timeline. Her value is often perceived through youth, vitality, and fertility. She might reject this, even ignore it, but she feels it intuitively. This knowing affects her emotions, her choices, her behavior. It creates a vulnerability most men are oblivious to. She senses the passage of time. She feels a quiet urgency, a fear of missing her chance with a worthy man. And here lies your edge. You stay composed. You stay centered. You don't react frantically. You don't plead. That patience, that solid presence, becomes magnetic. Most men fail at this exact point. They invert the natural order. They chase from desperation. They lower their standards. They act needy because their sense of self hinges on her acceptance. And when they do, attraction fades. Respect evaporates. They become weak, predictable, uninteresting. But when you operate from strength, not need, when you are anchored in your own mission and purpose, she notices. Even if she can't articulate why, she is pulled toward your confidence, your calm, your autonomy. You are no longer someone she can easily sway. You become the prize. You establish the standards. You define the terms. This change might seem slight, but alters everything. You cease being a follower hoping for scraps. You become the man who naturally commands attention and desire because you know your own worth and will not bargain it away. Many believe that constant generosity or always prioritizing a woman will win her loyalty. They are mistaken. Giving too much, endlessly sacrificing to gain her favor, often has the opposite effect. Instead of respect, it breeds disregard. A man who continually diminishes himself for approval becomes transparent, feeble, and easy to manage. People start to see him as a tool, not a treasure. A man of genuine value never begs. He doesn't plead for love, attention, or approval. A man with true substance always has alternatives. His worth isn't determined by who stays or goes. It comes from within, from his self-belief, his actions, his very way of living. Real power is internal. It doesn't rely on another person's validation. So, how do you engage with a woman's fragility? Not to exploit her, but to act from a place of truth. First, never let it seem she is your sole possibility. Even if she currently is, don't make it apparent. Maintain an air of mystery. Let her wonder, could he walk away? That uncertainty captivates her. It keeps you on her mind and desire alive. The moment she is certain she's your only focus, respect dwindles. You lose your advantage. Second, never make of the sun your world orbits. Your aims, your mission must come first. Your life should be vast, with room for her within it, not built around her. If your entire existence revolves around pleasing her, you become needy, predictable, and dull. Attraction withers when a man has no purpose beyond another person. Third, avoid being entirely predictable. Predictability is the death of intrigue. If she can always anticipate your words, actions, or reactions, she will grow bored. A man who balances closeness with space, kindness with self-respect, keeps her mentally engaged. This isn't about being dishonest. It's about being authentic yet compelling. Curiosity fuels passion. Certainty kills it. When you stand firm and unshakable, you accomplish more than grabbing her attention. You demonstrate a lesson many women aren't taught. Not every man is subject to her control. Your life, your choices, your values stand apart from her. She must earn your presence, not assume it. You show you are a man of principle, a man with boundaries, a man who cannot be unsettled by another's insecurity. This distinguishes the men who chase from the men who attract. When you adhere to your standards, you quit seeking validation. You stop appearing needy. You cease surrendering your power. You cultivate a presence that is magnetic and undeniable. She senses it. She recognizes it. No rumor, social pressure, or game can diminish it. In essence, hold your ground. Know your value. Live your purpose. And never compromise your core principles. This is a way of authentic power. It separates the forgotten, the manipulated from the respected, the desired, the remembered. It is how a man transcends neediness and becomes a pursued, not the pursuer. A woman's insecurities are rarely plain in isolation. They often surface more visibly in social settings, around other women, friends, colleagues. Even strangers can activate subtle signs of inner tension. She may appear polite, smiling, engaged, but watch carefully. You might catch small tells, playful jokes with an edge, quiet comparisons, low-stakes competitions hidden in casual talk. Even simple conversation can harbor underlying friction. These moments are when her inner doubts and fears peek through, revealing her more fragile side. Rule 1. Do not participate. Do not choose sides. Do not enter her social conflicts. Involving yourself in these dramas shows your attention can be manipulated. It makes you predictable, tied to her emotions, and dependent on her good opinion. But if you remain detached, calm, and above the petty fray, something remarkable occurs. You become magnetic. You demonstrate that your world is bigger than minor squabbles. That gossip and envy cannot reach you. That untouchable quality draws attention, respect, and, crucially, attraction. Her insecurity becomes most apparent around women who are younger or perceived as more attractive. In these scenes, subtle shifts happen. She might glance your way more frequently, act more flirtatious, or seek your approval in small gestures. She could even pull back or become quietly tense. Deep down, she is measuring her status and appeal against others, highly conscious of where she stands. This is where your strength shows. Do not instantly soothe her. Do not try to calm her with obvious compliments or excessive attention. Allow her to feel that slight tension. Let her question her standing in your life. Let her understand her position isn't automatic. That carefully managed uncertainty is what drives genuine attraction. Curiosity, desire, and a hint of healthy insecurity are far more powerful than non-stop validation. When you handle these social dynamics correctly, you achieve something exceptional. You become the prize, not just another participant in her social theater. You become the man whose life is separate from her insecurities. Your presence, confidence, and worth remain unaffected by comparison or drama. This might seem like a subtle art, but it is incredibly potent. It sets you apart from most men who react, chase, or try to control situations out of their own need or anxiety. In practice, this means watching instead of reacting. Observe closely without judgment. Understand the social play without emotional investment. Stay steady when she tests you, competes, or seeks reassurance. Maintain your independence and sense of self. When you do this, her insecurities cease to be a problem and start being useful data. You gain insight into her motivations, wants, and fears without any attempt to manipulate. In other words, the moment you stop reacting and preserve your autonomy, her fragility turns into an asset. It becomes a lens for understanding, a source of natural influence. This isn't about controlling her. It's about perceiving reality accurately. Her insecurities are real. They've always existed. But when you observe them calmly and respond from a position of strength, they work to your benefit. You gain respect and sway without force. You show her and everyone else that your value isn't decided by approval or social games. You become the man who moves through life with quiet authority, untouched by petty dramas, yet fully aware of the social landscape. Her fragility is no longer a stumbling block. It's your insight, your compass, your edge. True leaders sometimes must act with firmness, not from malice, but because decisiveness commands respect. To lead, you can't always aim to be adored. To hold influence, you can't always provide comfort. Sometimes doing what is necessary seems stern, but it builds real authority. The same idea applies with women. Often, the most powerful action is to let her encounter reality. Let her experience the natural outcomes of her choices. Don't rescue her from every discomfort. Don't soothe her with hollow words or false promises. Let consequences unfold. She may resent you initially. She might call you cold or unfair. She may try to persuade herself and others that you are wrong. But beneath the surface, something significant shifts. She respects you, not for agreeing with her every whim, but for standing firm. Your life, your choices, your values exist independent of her moods or wants. Respect follows strength, not submission. And authentic attraction grows from that strength. Here's the truth so many men miss. The goal isn't just physical intimacy. It isn't about payback or proving a point. The real objective is to construct a life so rich in power, purpose, and meaning that women are a welcome addition, but never a requirement. When your life is abundant, your identity is solid, and your presence is deliberate, you no longer hunt for approval. Instead, others, including women, are drawn to your energy and vision. The ultimate insight is this. If your self-worth isn't tied to her validation, her fragility stops being a source of stress or fixation. It becomes information, a neutral fact you note, understand, and navigate. It's not a weapon. It's not leverage. It's a guide for your decisions, helping you act with control, calm, and clarity. This is a sign of true mastery. When life tests her illusions, you remain steady. Her fragility doesn't dictate your moves. Instead, it informs them. From this place of awareness, everything changes. You are no longer a man at the whims of attraction. You become the man who sets the terms and moves through life from a position of inherent power. Let her believe she is utterly strong, independent, untouchable. Let her tell herself that daily. Let her post it online. Let her feel that power. Let her inhabit those illusions. Meanwhile, you concentrate on what truly matters, your own life. You build your skills, your purpose, your presence. You increase your value and create your own kingdom, whatever that means for you, without needing her applause or praise or her influence. One day, reality will remind her of a truth she can't escape. True strength is earned in silence, never claimed in noise. It can't be faked with images, posts, wealth, or accolades. Strength is forged by confronting reality, taking responsibility, and standing firm even when others question you. And her deep-seated need for security, protection, and guidance cannot be satisfied by illusions or words. It can only be met by a man who truly holds his ground. This is where your real power resides. Once you grasp this, you stop resenting women. You cease feeling frustrated, puzzled, or bitter about their contradictions, their social maneuvers, their moods. You see them clearly as participants in the same evolutionary game you're in. You observe their instincts, recognize the patterns, understand the motives. You respond from awareness, not emotion, from strategy, not fear. The pivotal question isn't whether you'll notice her fragility. That's already happening, seen or unseen. The real question is, will you act consciously with purpose, strength, and control, or unconsciously from need, fear, or desperation? Most men fail because they are reactive. They chase approval. They let their happiness depend on her. They hand over their power without a second thought. Relationships between men and women have always involved dynamics of power. They always will. The difference between a man who struggles and the man who thrives is straightforward: awareness and discipline. The man who comprehends the rules and applies them without excuse rises above. The man who reacts emotionally remains stuck. The transformation is simple in concept but radical in execution. Stop seeking validation. Stop buying into illusions. Stop letting her approval set your value. Stand firm, focus on yourself, and let reality show the truth. When you do, you're no longer a player in her games. You are the one who writes the rules. You become the man she notices, respects, and cannot ignore. This is real power. This is mastery. This is the shift. And it starts the instant you choose to see clearly, act deliberately, and live by your own code. No matter what anyone else believes. If this resonated with you, don't just scroll away. Share it with another man who needs to hear it. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to Winds of Thought. This isn't just content. It's a blueprint for building genuine strength, power, and command over your own life. Stop living by someone else's terms. Start leading.